Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the John Kentera Show on YouTube. San Diego Sports Talk, the show that cares about what you fans have to say. Well, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Our San Diego Padres, after dropping game one on Saturday night, they come back on Sunday night and drill the LA Dodgers 10-2. Lot to talk about, and as we get into it, we're going to talk about the chaos out in the outfield in the bottom of the seventh inning and everything that went on, but want to remind everyone, if it's maybe your first time watching the John Kentera Show on YouTube, we thank you for tuning in, and we would ask you to subscribe. We're trying to work our subscriptions up there. It's free of charge, folks. And so if you would just subscribe during the show, we love to take your comments. And tonight, after a thrilling victory, and the Padres came out and just were devastating tonight. And we're going to talk about you, Darvish, a tremendous effort by you tonight. But if you would, please subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera. You can follow me on X at Coach Kentera44. And we would very much thank you for that. We will have shows on Tuesday and Wednesday, and if necessary, on Friday. And I'm hoping the Padres coming back on Tuesday and Wednesday can take care of business. You recall 2 years ago, Padres lost the first game, and everybody was down in the dumps. My neighbors were down in the dumps, and they were down in the dumps today. But now everybody's going to be walking with a little more giddy up in their step in San Diego when they go to work on Monday morning. I can tell you that. This is a hell of an effort by the Padres tonight. And it really started on the mound with you, Darvish. You, Darvish, went out there and flat out was dealing. I mean, Dylan Cease a night ago really scuffled. It really didn't have his great stuff. And that's why I had said 3 weeks ago in game one of the wild card, you needed to go with Michael King. And Dylan Cease, when he's on, he's really tough. But if he's off, the pitch count gets up. You got to go to the bullpen. And Michael King will be throwing the game on Tuesday night. And that game's going to start shortly after 6 o'clock. And we're going to get you a breakdown on Michael King and Walker Buehler. I do believe Walker Buehler is going to get the start. There was talk that Landon Knack may make the start on Tuesday, and it probably end up being a bullpen game. But I think Walker Buehler is going to get the start, and, we'll talk more about that a little bit later on the program. But Sunday night, you got to go and talk about you, Darvish. You, Darvish, pitched as good a game as he's pitched all year. He went 7 innings. He gave up 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 2 walks, and had 3 strikeouts, and kept his pitch count down all night long. They went to Tanner Scott for an inning, who pitched last night in game one, and then they went to the rookie Alec Jacob, who got nicked up for a Max Muncy homer in the 9th inning, but it didn't matter. Padres win the game 10-2. They tie a postseason record with 6 long balls tonight. 6 long balls. And Fernando Tatis Jr. is he's like that big 12-year-old in Little League that's bigger, stronger, faster, and has more power than anybody. This guy is playing out of his mind right now. Absolutely out of his mind. And you know what? It's great. And I always like to brag. I'm such a big Fernando Tatis Jr. fan. Yeah, I was harsh on him when he got the PED suspension. Yes, I was critical of him when he got hurt on the motorcycle. But you know what? I've always loved him in between the white lines. He's got a great personality. Always fan friendly, maybe not so much to the Dodger fans tonight as they were throwing things at him out there in right field. Some knucklehead threw a baseball at Profar there in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now, I'll get back to that in a minute, but I don't want to take away from this great effort by our Padres tonight. I mean, Fernando, just another monster game. I mean, he had 3 hits tonight, 1 double, 2 homers, drove in 3 runs. I mean, 3 for 4 tonight, got hit by a pitch, and we can talk about that a little bit. I don't think Jack Flaherty was trying to hit him. I mean, I really don't. Why would you hit Fernando Tatis Jr. when you're already down 3-1 and he's leading off the inning? Why would you hit him? Okay, he had, I think, what was it, 0-1. He tried to come in with a fastball and hit him in the leg. And, hey, I get it, man. I get the chirping. Flaherty's a little bit of a mouthy guy, and his mound presence isn't always that great. And Manny's never going to shy away. And Manny was chirping from the on-deck circle after Fernando got hit, and then Profar, came up, and then Manny came up and ended up striking out. And Flaherty chirped to him. And then, Manning's at third, and Flaherty got taken out of the game, and they started chirping. But I really don't think Flaherty was trying to hit Fernando. I really don't. And I think most baseball people would agree with me on that. I mean, now, if there are 2 outs in the inning, nobody on, maybe you dust them off a little bit, but you're not going to hit them when you're already down 3-1. It just doesn't make any baseball sense whatsoever. But I got to tell you, the Padres right now, I think they have the Dodgers number. They won 8-5 against the Dodgers in the regular season. Yeah, last night, game 1, there were some big performances by the Dodgers. And by the way, if you missed it, Freddie Freeman had to leave the ball game tonight in the 6th inning. He's listed day to day, that sore right ankle. And the other thing that we're going to keep our eye on and waiting kind of on a termination from the Padres regarding Xander Bogaerts. He had to leave after he homered tonight in the ball game. He had to leave the ball game, and I don't know if it was a cramp or what the problem was, but he had to leave the ball game. Hopefully, it's nothing more than just a cramp in the hamstring. But he, kind of took his sweet time going around the bases, kind of limping a little bit after kind of stretching out at home plate. So we're going to keep our eye on that. But there were so many great performances. I mean, we got to talk about the rookie Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill just continues to play like a veteran. Now, I don't know if he's going to win the Rookie of the Year. I know Baseball America already gave Paul Skeens not only the Rookie of the Year in the National League, they just give out one Rookie of the Year, and he was a Major League Baseball Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens. And all the stuff that goes on in the postseason doesn't count. Everything had to be voted on before the last game was over. Okay, game 162. So I don't know if Merrill won it or not. I don't know if Skeens won it. But you know what? This guy just continues to defy the odds. At 21 years of age, the numbers this guy is putting up. I mean, tonight, once again, another big night. 3 for 5, a 2-run homer, 3 RBIs. And like they were talking about in the broadcast tonight, he doesn't even have his man strength yet. Man, this kid is something special. He is really something special. But we're going to talk all about what went on tonight at Dodger Stadium here in a minute. But I do want to mention our great sponsors. We got 2 great sponsors. And the first one I'm going to tell you about tonight is Grangetto's Farm and Garden Supply. Huge Padre fans. I don't know if they went to the playoff game tonight, but I know some of them went to the wild card games here in San Diego last week. But beautiful people. They've been in business since 1952, over 70 years, folks. You don't stay in business over 70 years unless you're damn good, and that's exactly what they are. That's where the pros shop. Why not you shop there as well? The pros are shopping there. That's good enough for me. You're having problems with your garden. You're having problems with your lawn. Hey, check them out. Go to their website, grangettos.com. The other thing, and this is the best thing, because you really get initiated into Grangettos and see everything they have to offer. Go to that website, but sign up for the newsletter. By the way, the newsletter should be coming out this week. So get signed up, and it just takes, 30 seconds or so. Get signed up for their newsletter, and twice a month, it'll drop in your box. So go to their website, grangettos.com, and remember, Grangetto's Farm and Garden Supply. When you go in, hey, tell them Coach John Kentera sent you. All right. And that's a good one right there. They're great people, and they'll get you all taken care of. No question about it. Okay, we're going to talk about the chaos at Dodger Stadium. What goes on in the field if 2 teams are having problems, and let's face it, the Padres and Dodgers do not get along. Okay, you got the big brother, or at least of all, that's the way people look at it, the big bad bully up in L.A., the L.A. Dodgers. They've won 11 of the last 12 division titles. The Padres are down here between Ron Fowler and Peter Seidler. They've spent millions and millions of dollars. Some of that money is paid off, others hasn't. But the Padres are trying to win the first title in franchise history. And they make no bones about it. They come out, they play some good old-fashioned hardball. They may pop off a little bit, but you know what? Too bad. If you don't like what the Padres are doing, beat them. It's like I used to say, if players don't like what I'm saying on the air, play better. And you know what? The Padres play with a chip on their shoulder. The Dodgers just figure they can show up some nights and they're going to win baseball games. Well, I got news for them. The Padres aren't going to roll over and play dead. They're not going to do that. But if there's a problem between the players on the field, it's a problem between the players on the field. And I know every once in a while, we saw it last night, there was a fan or two ran on the field. I don't know, because TV never shows it. But if you're going to go to a major league game and spend that kind of money, why do you want to end up the night in jail or ejected from the stadium? And I realize some people can't hold their alcohol, but for crying out loud, you can't throw a baseball at a human being out on the field. Now, I don't know if the guy tried to hit him or just trying to throw the ball out there to stir it up a little bit. I don't know. But the intent, anytime a baseball is thrown from the field, it's not a good thing. And I know it started years and years ago at Fenway Park. And if you were going to throw a home run ball back, great. Make sure that ball player ain't 50 yards from it. Okay? Just throw it back, but that wasn't the intent tonight. Some knucklehead, or maybe a couple of knuckleheads, started it. They had to bring, about 20 security guys onto the field. Then they were throwing trash at Fernando out there in right field. I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And quite frankly, if I was Mike Schilt, I would have probably taken my team off the field. And I think he wanted to. He didn't, but I think he wanted to. And I think one of the umpires said, hey, we're going to get this under control. Just have your outfielders come to the infield, let things simmer down. I think I might have brought my team off the field and would sit in the dugout. Remember years ago on ball night when there was a bad call and they threw all the balls on the field? I mean, it's years and years ago at Dodger Stadium, and they called the game. They said, that's it. And there were hundreds of baseballs being thrown on the field that night. I mean, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But what went on tonight, I don't want to see any of that at Petco Park. And you know what? They're goofy Padre fans from time to time as well. It's not just Dodger fans or Red Sox fans or Yankee fans. Sometimes people have a few too many, social sparklers. So, I mean, we're better than that in San Diego, I would hope. But Dodger fans, we know the history. We know it way it goes, and the Padres kicked their ass tonight. And they didn't like it. And they got to go to work all bent out of shape. Tough. And you know what? Now the Padres are going to get the next two home games. Padres could close this thing out. Padres are in great shape. This was the key win. They had to win tonight because now it's really I think they're in the driver's seat. I really do. Think about this. You got Walker Buehler, who's had an awful year, going against Michael King, who's been one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, coming off a great start. That's not to say the Dodgers couldn't get to him on Tuesday night, but I'll take my chances with Michael King. And then I would imagine you're going to come back with Dylan Cease because that'll be on Wednesday. He'll have had, remember, he didn't even go 4 innings the other night. Now his pitch count was high, but he would have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and be ready for Wednesday. He could go on short rest if you wanted to do that and not maybe have to go back to Dodger Stadium. And then if he doesn't get it done, then you come back with Darvish at Dodger Stadium. And let's face it, pitches very well at Dodger Stadium, and he pitches extremely well against the Dodgers. So Padres are in great shape. But, they can't beat their chest and come back and, just figure, hey, we got these guys where they want them. I mean, Walker Buehler's been awful. But you know what? His last start of the regular season was against the Padres. He pitched very well. And Dave Roberts won't let him go more than about 3 or 4 innings, and he'll go to the bullpen. Now, all his bullpen guys were pretty much down. I mean, Blake Trinan, who had to finish the game in game 1, he threw like 39 pitches. But the other thing that I want to point out, because there are so many stories out of this game too. I mean, so many stories from the simple standpoint of Darvish, Fernando, Jackson Merrill, Higashioka hit his 3rd postseason home run. Padres tie a Major League Baseball record from the postseason with 6 home runs. The thing that I don't want to be overlooked tonight was the great defense. And I mean unbelievable defense. Not, just good defense. I'm talking about fantastic defense. And I had my yellow tablet out, and I was writing down about every one of those great defensive plays. And it started, Jurickson Profar, robbing Mookie Betts of that home run, second batter in the bottom of the 1st inning. And maybe that's what got people all riled up is he taunted the crowd. After he caught the ball, he turned around and did a few high steps and fooled the umpire, fooled Mookie Betts, and he had the ball the whole time. And maybe that's kind of what started. I don't know, but I don't care. I don't care about what Profar did or didn't do. As a fan, you don't throw baseballs, you don't throw trash, and you definitely don't run onto the field. We didn't have any of those knuckleheads tonight. We had them in game one. But Profar just an incredible play. Incredible play. That Dodger fan screwed it up because if that Dodger fan would have hit Profar's glove, it wouldn't have been fan interference because Jurickson's glove was in the stands. So that Dodger fan kind of screwed that one up, or Mookie Betts would have had a first-inning home run. Then Luis Arraez turned a Tommy Edman line drive into a double play, tagging first base to get Will Smith to end the second inning. That was a great play. Fernando making a great catch in the right center field gap to rob Freddie Freeman of extra bases leading off the fourth inning. I mean, Fernando's playing like Superman. He really is. He's playing like frigging Superman. No question about it. And then Luis Arraez made another fantastic diving stop to rob Max Muncy to end the fourth inning. Jackson Merrill, sixth inning, going up against the wall in center to grab a fly ball from Kike Hernandez. I mean, these guys were all over the place. And that bus ride back to San Diego, I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be a short ride because they're going to be riding home on cloud nine. They played a hell of a baseball game tonight. And because of everything that went on in the top or bottom half of the seventh inning, everybody's going to talk about that. There's going to be headlines about that. Hey, at the end of the day, the Padres played a hell of a game. Darvish pitched great. Tatis was fantastic. Jackson Merrill was fantastic. They hit 6 homers a team, and they played great defense. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better bounce-back game after losing game one. Seriously. No question about it. Okay, let's talk just briefly about game one because I want to get to some comments. If you're out there and want to comment on what you're seeing, what you thought tonight, I want to hear from you. Okay, so start writing those comments. Let's get them rolling tonight. Game one, Dodgers won at 7-5. Padres had a 3-0 lead. They had a 5-3 lead. They couldn't hold it. We talk about Dylan Cease. Think about this. It took him 83 pitches to get 10 outs on Saturday night. And his numbers, 3 1/3, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, gave up the big 3-run homer to Ohtani. And, you know, I got to tell you something. Everybody is commenting about Joe Davis and Small. Those guys are damn good broadcasters. They may not be the homers that, we're used to, but they're damn good broadcasters. And if they, you know what? They're the flavor of the month. They talk good about the team that's winning normally. If you're getting beat, they don't talk a whole lot about you, or they'll talk about this, that, and 38 other things. But they've praised the Padres a lot. Okay? You're not listening to what the good things they're saying about the Padres. You're just hearing what they're saying about the Dodgers. Okay? Last night, a lot of Dodger talk. Tonight, a lot of Padre talk. A lot of Fernando Tatis talk. A lot of Jackson Merrill talk. We got a lot of Darvish talk. A lot of Mike Schilt talk. Okay? Those guys are great broadcasters. And if you really listen, now, if you're just a Padre fan and not necessarily a diehard baseball fan, you may not enjoy them. I'm a diehard baseball fan. I love baseball. I've loved it since I was a little boy. And I want to learn as much as I possibly can. And John Smoltz is really smart. Sometimes he may talk over our heads a little bit. Not to the degree that Tim McCarver used to, rest in peace. But Joe Davis is a hell of a broadcaster. He's one of the best in the business, no question about it. And I think they do an outstanding job. I really do. And I don't take any umbrage to what they say or they don't say. And the other thing, those guys, I think for the most part, considering they're national guys, they're not here day in and day out. They know a lot of the good stories. They got a lot of good information on the Padres. And so, that's what I'm going to say about that. And being a broadcaster isn't all that easy. The other thing I wanted to bring up about game one, Padres had their opportunities in game one. I mean, getting beat 7-5, they were 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. That's not going to get it done. In game one, Dodgers, they had a lot of opportunities. They hit 250. They were 4 for 16. But Dylan Cease didn't get it done. Morejon didn't get it done. Padre bullpen was, they were okay, but Morejon gave up a run. Jeremiah Estrada gave up a run. It was unearned because Manny made the throw over to first base and airmailed it. But, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that. But I will talk about Fernando. He had a good ball game in game one, 2 for 4, a walk, and a double. I mean, Fernando's just on fire right now. And you know what? At the end of the day, give the Dodgers credit. They played well in game one. A couple of things from game one the Dodgers did. Their 7, 8, 9 hitters, they were very productive in game one. 5 for 12 with a couple of runs scored. They used 6 pitchers. Dodger bullpen was fantastic. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. So, they got it done that night, but the Padres come back and kick their butt on Sunday night 10-2. And the Padres also out-hit them 13-5. Padres 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position Sunday night. Dodgers 0 for 5. So there you have that. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about Xander Bogaerts. Xander left this game late. He had 2 hits in game one. He was 0 for tonight until he hit a home run late in the ball game. He drilled that home run in the 8th inning and then left. Tyler Wade came in, and we're waiting on an update. And I'm not sure. It didn't look serious because he got out of the batter's box. He stretched out a little bit. It might have just been a cramp. Hopefully, a cramp or maybe some tightness. They can rub it out and, give him all the stuff he needs. They're going to work out at the ballpark tomorrow. They're going to work out at Petco Park tomorrow. But I'm sure he'll be ready. I can't imagine him not playing on Tuesday night. I mean, Padres, oh, man, they're playing great. They really are playing great. I mean, they dominated against Atlanta, and they had a bad night, basically because the pitch count got out of hand. And that's when the Dodgers take advantage of you. Really, I've watched the Dodgers play a lot this year, especially like when the Padres play on the East Coast and the Dodgers are playing those 7-10 games. I always tune in. I know the Dodgers inside and out from watching them. And their whole deal against most pitchers, now, against Darvish was around the plate a lot. They were swinging early because he was getting ahead in the count. But most pitchers, they try to get him out of there by the 5th inning and get into the underbelly of the visiting team's bullpen. And let's face it, there's a lot of teams in baseball, their bullpen sucks. Especially their middle guys. They're not very good. Okay, they always talk about expansion. I'm going, are you kidding me? Some of the guys I'm watching pitch in the big leagues right now aren't very good. The middle relief guys, they're not very good. And that's the Dodgers' whole thing. It was kind of like the Oakland A's. When they talk about, they got the formula for 162 games. Yeah, you know what? You can play that money ball, whatever you want, but it doesn't work against number 1 and number 2s. When you're going to go against guys that can really pitch. They're gonna stick it up your tailpipe. No question about that. And the more baseball you watch, the more you understand that. But hopefully Xander's able to come back and play. You got to have him. He's really starting to swing the bat very, very well. Okay, I want to talk about Joe Musgrove. I was on the road on Friday, and I got word that Joe is going to be out. And I think most of you that know me, and, I've been very honest on all of our social media. Since we started the podcast several months ago, I never really truly expected Joe to come back and pitch at all this year after he was on the IL for a second time early in the year. But he came back and pitched so well. I mean, so well. But he's going to undergo Tommy John surgery, and they're working right now, figuring out who's going to do it. I would certainly think, and I don't want to speak for the Musgroves, but I would recommend Dr. Elatrosh, who's actually the team doctor for the Dodgers. But he's kind of like the Frank Jobe of this era, where most of the guys go to Neil Elatrosh. And I sent a player to Dr. Elatrosh a few years ago, and it was a very, very, it wasn't Tommy John. It was something that was even a little bit more severe. And this young man was able to come back and resume his pitching career in high school and then in college. Dr. Elatrosh is really good. Now, I don't know if Joe's going to go with him or not, but that would be, I think if I had a son, that's who I would have perform the surgery on me. There are a lot of good doctors, but Dr. Elatrosh, believe me, he's got a lot of practice. But Joe's going to be out until 2026. And I want to say this. I knew he came back, but I was not I wasn't really in favor of it because he had that bone spur, and that thing was not going to go away. And I know the reason he came back. Well, there's several reasons he came back. Number one, he loves the city of San Diego. He loves the Padre organization. He's thankful that he got that beautiful contract a few years ago from Peter Seidler. And he didn't want to let anybody down. That's the type of guy he is. He's a great community guy. I think all of you folks in San Diego, whether you grew up with him or played, Little League or Pony League or high school, anybody that's been around Joe Musgrove for 5 minutes, he cares about people. And he's devastated. He's absolutely devastated about what happened. And I'm sure his family is, because they love Padre baseball. I mean, little Joe used to sit up there with his Jake Peavy jersey on. In fact, the day that he pitched in the wild card last week, he had his Jake Peavy jersey walking into Petco Park with. And he went out there until he got hurt and couldn't throw anymore in the fourth inning. He was pitching a hell of a ball game, had given up that one early run and then really sat down and pitched well. So, it really sucks that he's going to be gone the rest of this year and all of next year. But he'll come back. He'll be 33 years of age. He'll have a couple of years left on his contract. And knowing Joe, he will work his tail off. He'll be around the ball club on a regular basis all next year, doing what he needs to do to get back up there on the mound. So, I mean, he's in the dugout cheering for the guys last night, tonight. He'll be around. You'll see him at Petco Park on Tuesday and Wednesday. So, I think we all just feel terrible because we know how much this guy cares about our city, about our ball club, about the ownership. And, again, he went out there and literally pitched his arm off for all of us, folks. He really did. Okay, I want to tell you about our other great sponsor. And I'm talking, and we're going to get out and some comments. You got comments about the game. You got comments about Fernando, Merrill, you got comments about what happened out there in the outfield tonight in the bottom of the seventh inning. Okay, Your Reliable Home Buyers, fantastic people. Go to their website, yourreliablehomebuyers.com. You want to buy, sell your house, especially if you want to sell your house quickly, they'll actually get you cash, and they'll make this thing happen like it seems like it's overnight. You know how much red tape some of these companies put you through? Not Reliable Home Buyers, they don't. So check them out, yourreliablehomebuyers.com. Comprehensive real estate services. Again, buying, selling, financing, even purchasing old houses or ugly houses, and they'll pay cash. They'll pay cash. Two things you can do. Number one, you can give them a call, 858-422-4116. 858-422-4116, or you can visit them at yourreliablehomebuyers.com. I'm telling you right now, folks, before you sign up with anybody else, give them a shot. yourreliablehomebuyers.com, and believe me, they will not disappoint. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the preview of Game 3, and then I want to get out to all of your comments tonight. And I would certainly think we have some comments. And Sammy Long is getting them all ready to roll, and we're going to hear what you have to say tonight, folks. And I'll tell you what, this podcast is growing by leaps and bounds. I had no idea what to expect when we started this a few months ago, but, we got this nice headset now. I don't use my earbuds. We got this nice background, John Kentera show, San Diego Sports Talk, and we're getting a lot of subscribers and a lot of people checking us out. So we'll get to that here shortly. Samuel, start putting those up, and we'll talk more about it. Okay, let's talk about the preview of Game 3. NLDS Tuesday night, Petco Park, 6:08. LA Dodgers going with right-hander Walker Buehler. Padres countering with right-hander Michael King. Walker Buehler coming back from his second Tommy John surgery. It hasn't gone smoothly for him this year. How about 16 starts, a 1-6 record, a 5.38 ERA to this point, and a whip of 1.55. He's putting over a runner and a half on base all year. Now, listen to these numbers. And at one point in time, they had to put him on the IL. Another point in time, they sent him down to the minor leagues to work a little bit. I mean, he's had all kinds of problems. And he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. So he's going to be very motivated to go out there and try to shove against the Padres. But his overall number, 16 starts at 1-6 and a 5.38 ERA, 75 and a third innings. He's given up 89 hits. 89 hits, 45 earned runs, 28 walks, 64 strikeouts. Not typical Walker Buehler. He's given up 16 home runs in 16 starts and a 289 average. And again, 16 starts is only equated to 75 and a third innings. He's had a hard time, a real hard time. But his last start of the season was against our Padres, September 26th at Dodger Stadium. It pitched very well. 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run. It was earned, a walk, 1 strikeout. And the Padres got beat that night. Buehler didn't figure in the decision, but the Dodgers won that game 7-2. So he's scheduled to start on Tuesday night at 6:08 against Michael King. Now, Michael King has just been incredible. I mean, he's pitched a career high 173 and 2/3 innings coming into the ballgame on Tuesday night. He's given up only 144 hits, 71 runs, 57 of them earned, 63 walks, and he finished the regular season with 201 strikeouts. Gave up 17 homers in 31 games and 30 starts, 17 homers and a whip of 1.19. And you go back to game 1 of the wild card series against Atlanta. 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, no walks, 12 strikeouts. Padres won that game 4-0. So there you have it. Okay, we're going to start getting out to some comments. And let's start off with WK. Darvish could have gone 9 if needed. You know what? I'm not going to argue with that. But you know what? Here's the deal. You had a big lead. There's no reason to push him because you may need him in game 5. I don't know how Mike Schill is going to factor in here. If he's going to go with Dylan Cease on short rest because he didn't go real deep, but he did throw a lot of pitches. Maybe they'd go with Martin Perez. Maybe they go with him and, make it a bullpen game in game 4. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to handle this right now. It should have been nice to have Joe Musgrove back in there, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, Chris 4, 8 Laces Consulting. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate that. It's very nice. I'll be able to buy breakfast in the morning. I appreciate that very much. Nothing better than hearing Coach talk Padres. I appreciate that. My wife said to me tonight, she goes, man, people are going to want to hear what you have to say about this one. I go, well, they're going to find out. They're not going to have to wait till Monday morning at 10 a.m. They're going to be able to hear me about 20 minutes after the final out tonight, which is really cool. I mean, this is really cool. Thank you, Chris, for the nice compliment. I really appreciate that. And, I could talk Padre baseball morning, noon, or night. I mean, it could be a blizzard out, and I'd want to talk Padre baseball. The other thing I'm looking forward to? I'm looking forward to, hopefully we're winning the World Series. That's what I'm shooting for right now. But whenever the season's over, we're going to continue doing this podcast. And we're going to talk about the Aztecs' nice win over Hawaii. We're going to talk about USD and San Diego State basketball. And congratulations to Coach Moore and the USD Toreros football team. They won in walk-away fashion in overtime against Presbyterian on Saturday out at Torero Stadium. So both college football programs won over the weekend. So that's a good thing. But we're going to talk about everything. But we're going to talk about free agency. We're going to talk about, what the Padres need to do. But we're not going to do that right now. And I'm going to continue to get to calls and stand there. Just hang on. I'm going to answer your question. I want to mention Hassan Kim because while I was gone on Friday, I was up in Orange County watching my granddaughter. She plays volleyball for the Torrey Pines varsity volleyball team, and they finished 3rd in a big-time tournament. They got beat by one of the top teams in America, Maricosta High School. But anyways, Kelly and I, we were up there watching volleyball. But, I was monitoring everything. We got home for the game last night, so I saw game 1 and, of course, watched game 2 tonight. Hassan Kim has hired Boris Corporation, Scott Boris, to be his agent. Now, I want to give you the contract status of Hassan Kim, and then I'm going to get to R and everybody else's comments or questions tonight. So he hires Boris. Again, he's out for the season with a torn labrum. Remember when he dove back into the first base bag and, reached out with his right arm and he tore his labrum? I mean, man, that's crazy. But anyways, having surgery, eligible for free agency. Now, he does have a mutual option. for $8 million next year. Well, he's going to turn that down. He'll turn that down. But how about this? He can turn down. I don't know why they give these guys opt-outs. I haven't figured that out yet. Okay? If he opts out of the mutual agreement, okay, he'll become a free agent, but he'll get a $2 million parting gift. Why do they give these opt-outs? Could somebody explain that to me? Why do they give so many of these guys opt-outs? You know, I mean, the teams, man, you talk about rolling over for these ball players. He's going to get $2 million just to say, I don't want to play for you next year. And he's not the first, and he won't be the last, but I just don't get that. But anyways, he has a mutual option with the Padres for $8 million in 2025, but Scott Boras will take him to free agency. Okay, it's that simple. And his original deal was for 4 years, $28 million, plus that 2025 mutual option. All righty, our coach. This is Kevin from Chula Vista, who plays shortstop in case Xander can't post. Okay, here's the deal. Nick Ahmed is not on the roster. So I think your really only choice right now, at least to start a game, would be Tyler Wade. I don't think you're going to put Cronenworth over there at this point in time. The least amount of moves you make, the better. And by the way, Cronenworth, he doesn't have a hit yet in the postseason. He's 0 for the postseason. I mean, Jake is just, I mean, I talked about it in my last podcast. His balance at the plate is just not good. Not good at all. I believe with the 0 for 4 tonight, I believe he's 0 for 14 in the playoffs, right around there. And again, I think you got to go with Tyler Wade. Now, if you took Xander off the roster, I believe he would be gone the rest of the year. You couldn't put him back on. You could add somebody, but you couldn't bring back Bogarts even in the next round, I don't believe, the way the rules state. So, you know, if he couldn't play on Tuesday night, they'd probably keep him on the roster. I think that would be the case right now. But again, it looked like more of a cramp. It didn't look like he pulled it. The way he was kind of stretching around, it looked like he had a little bit of a cramp. Okay, Schilp said Xander had hammy cramp. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. So you're on top of it. You're on top of it big time, and I appreciate that. Yeah, it looked like a cramp to me. You know, some guys get, you know, calf cramps. I get them once in a while when I'm sleeping. I don't know how many of you get, maybe you didn't drink enough water that day or get enough potassium and you get leg cramps at night. I get them in my calves every once in a while. Never really had them in my hamstring. Let's see. Doozer, 619, like it. Coach, if Freeman is out, will it change how they approach Ohtani? I don't think so because you got Mookie Betts. How about Mookie Betts? What's he, like 3 for his last 43 in the postseason? What is going on with him? I mean, you talk about a guy that's really lost at the plate right now. And I know he almost hit that home run, but man, he got to be feeling the heat. Holy Toledo. You got to be feeling the heat big time if you're Mookie Betts. But no, I don't think, and you know what? The off day, couple of things. Getting him out tonight, Freeman, and letting him start working with a trainer. And I know they've been working feverishly round the clock since he hurt that ankle the last week of the regular season. And he came back, you know, in game 1, had a couple of hits, stole that base. Dave Roberts was probably holding his breath on that. Freeman, I would imagine, won on his own. Can't imagine Dave Roberts giving him the steal sign. But, you know, he got out early tonight, start the treatment, and I'm sure, you know, having an off day tomorrow is not going to hurt him. But I don't know. I mean, that injury, they said normally can take 4 to 6 weeks, and he came back in, you know, basically a little over a week. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But, you know, this time of year, you want to see all the guys stay healthy. I want to see the best baseball. And, you know, Tom Krasovic on Sunday wrote an article, which is really cool. He goes, this series needs to go 5 games. Well, I'll tell you what, with all the things that went on in this game tonight, with the ball club bickering, the fans getting involved in a negative way, I wish it was like a 5 out of 9 series. See, I'm the only guy, I think, that is pissed that they only play the Dodgers 13 times. I like those 18 or 19 games a year. I live for Padre games against the Dodgers. I have since 1969. I really, I don't really need to see the White Sox come to town. I really see the Dodgers come. I don't really need to see the Oakland A's or the Sacramento A's or the Sacramento baseball team. I don't need to see some of those teams. I kind of liked it the way it used to be. I'd rather see the Giants. I'd rather see the Dodgers in here a little bit more. I mean, and then when they're playing these games in Mexico and in Korea and they give up a home game, that's one less time we get to see the Dodgers in San Diego, or the fans get to see the Padres in LA. All right. Jesus Gutierrez, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that contribution tonight. And Coach, how about that Manny huddle? Hey, you know what? That's a great point. Manny calling a huddle after everything that went on there. Top of the 8th inning, Manny huddles them up. Man, it looked like a college baseball team. They're all fired up. They're in there. Manny's giving it the what for, man, said, hey, screw these guys. We're going to kick their ass a little bit more. That's what Manny was basically saying. And I probably cleaned that up a little bit. But, I can only imagine what he was saying in there, saying, hey, stay focused. Don't get caught up in this. If there's going to be some crap talk, let me and Profar do it, because those two guys are pretty good at it. All right, Daniel Pellegrino, Coach, you and I likely watch the same amount of Dodger baseball during the year, especially when Padres were on the East Coast. Walker's not the same guy. Stuff doesn't look sharp. Hasn't all year. Daniel, no question about it. I mean, and you know what? I get the extra innings package. And the Dodgers do a great job in their post game. It's not like 15 minutes and off the air. They go like the Dodgers or the Lakers do in post game. They go forever. And they talk to, Dave Roberts. They talk to players. And, Jerry Harrison's on there, James Loney, our buddy Adrian Gonzalez. John Hartung does it a lot. He's kind of the leader of the pack. Nomar Garcia Parra. I mean, they got some great guys on their post-game show. But then they cut to the locker room. And I watch their entire post-game a lot of nights because it's the last thing that's going to be on, and then I'm going to bed. And, I'll usually watch the Padres, but, man, they're on and off. I mean, their post-game is, basically filler. They do an interview, and then they do a few stats here and there, and then they go to Mike Shilton, and they say, we're out of here. Okay, that's just the format that station has. But anyways, with the Dodgers, they go in there and they interview players. And the players, I got to say, good nights, bad nights, mediocre nights, Dodger players are pretty good with the media on camera. They handle their business very, very well. And I've watched Walker Buehler after several of his outings, and you can see his mind is just racing. He's searching right now. Now, he had a little bit of a confidence builder in that last game against the Padres, but it's been a while now. That game was on September 26th, so he hadn't pitched for a while. He may come out and try to throw 112 miles an hour, and his control may be really bad. Dave Roberts has no idea. Mark Pryor has no idea. But he has not been good. Not been good at all. And it's been tough to watch from a simple standpoint. You know what this guy was prior to the second Tommy John surgery. He was right up there. I mean, he was a Dodger number one guy. And then the other news, Kershaw, he's out for the whole postseason. I wonder if Kershaw's done. They're saying it's because of his toe, but I wonder if Kershaw's done. If he is, 5 years from the day he retires, he'll be going into the Hall of Fame. First ballot Hall of Famer, no question about it. Rob, why not bat Ohtani third? Well, because the Dodgers would rather have Ohtani lead off to where you got to pitch to him in the first inning, or you got to pitch to Mookie Betts. So, I mean, if you get the first two hitters out, you don't have to pitch to Ohtani. And Ohtani's been stealing bases, all that. And Ohtani, there was a talk about, will Betts be the leadoff hitter or will Ohtani? Well, it's been Ohtani. And you know what? I'm not going to mess with Ohtani. I'm not going to say, hey, you're going to hit in the third spot. The Dodgers are going to go with the way they are. And you know what? I guarantee you. I'm not going to guarantee it. But Freddie Freeman will probably play. They're listing him day to day. I would imagine Freddie's going to play. He played last night. And tonight, that game was getting a little bit out of hand. He came out in the sixth inning. I mean, it was still a ball game in the sixth inning. But he came out, and, I guess he didn't feel he could contribute tonight. But I think you got to leave Ohtani if you're the Dodgers. You got to leave him in the leadoff spot. Jason Wynn, should Padres start Peralta over Solano going forward, regardless of lefties or righties? No, I don't think so. I think, number one, David Peralta, big fan. And I'm a big fan from the simple standpoint of the perseverance that David had. As a young ball player, when he hurt his arm, he's in the Cardinal organization. If you don't know the story, I love to tell the story because he personifies what baseball's all about. You know, people wanting to tell you got to go home and get a regular job. And he goes, you know what? I think I can play. And he was a pitcher in the Cardinal organization. He hurt his arm, got released, ended up playing independent ball for a few years, working at a McDonald's to make money to support himself and to support his family and put gas in his car to get to his independent league games. The Diamondbacks signed him, and the guy became an outfielder. He was a pitcher. He became an outfielder and worked his tail off, and now he's been in the big leagues over 10 years. And he hit a home run, hit a home run, but Solano's been struggling. And I think you play Solano against the left-handers and you let Peralta go against the right-handers. But I'll tell you what, Solano made a great play in game one where he was able to backhand that ball and get a runner at the plate on a force play. But I got to tell you, man, Luis Arraez, who's not a great defender, he caught the line drive by Tommy Edman early in the ball game. They doubled off Will Smith. He took it to the bag, but he made another play in this ball game tonight. And I wrote down all my notes on the defense. He made that great play and was able to shuffle it over to or take it to the bag himself, and that was off of the line drive one hopper by Max Muncy. And dove. I mean, I don't know how the ball found his glove. I don't know how he fielded it, but he did and made a great play. Like I mentioned, the Padres made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outstanding plays tonight. 5 outstanding plays, or this game could have been maybe a little bit different. You never know. Even though the Padres won 10-2, Mookie Betts hits that home run, and Profar doesn't steal it from him. A couple of other balls, that ball, especially Edman hit early in the ball game. If that gets down the line, who knows? It could have been a completely different game between you, Darvish, pitching a heck of a game, the defense, 6 homers, 2 of them by Tatis, and a great night by Merrill and another home run by Higashioka. Bogart's got one. It was a hell of a night for the Padres. Hell of a night for the Padres. Daniel Pellegrino, once again, Jake has completely lost at the plate. Balance off. In fact, let me tell you something here about Cronenworth. I looked up a number last night, and I'll share with you. Let me find this. Somebody had texted me and asked me about, Cronenworth and what he was. This is nothing new. I mean, he's 0 for the playoffs, Daniel. But if you go back, and I wrote this down last night, I have nothing better to do than write down Padres stats. In the last 3 months, okay, we're talking about July, August, and September. Jake Cronenworth, average by month, 198, 260, 184. 184 in the month of September. And now, right now, he's 0 for, I think, 14 in the playoffs. That's not getting it done. Not getting it done in a big way. So we'll have to see if he can get it rolling. Playing a great second base. Hadn't had a lot of opportunities lately, but he's playing a great second base. Jason, thank you very much. I very appreciate that. That's very kind of you, my friend. John Allwell, I think all of us should tell people to subscribe to Coach's podcast. He is terrific. John, thank you very much. I very much appreciate this. You know what? You folks out there are like family to me. You really are. And, a lot of you hit me up on Facebook, you hit me up on X. I try to return as many questions or comments as I possibly can, but thank you very much. I try to be the voice of the fans. Not everybody wants to be the voice of the fans, but I like to hear what you fans have to say. And most of you listen to me on radio for years. You know that I would take more phone calls, and some good calls and some bad calls. Let's be honest. But you know what? I hope I was able to educate a lot of folks that maybe didn't know a lot about the game, or whether it's basketball or baseball or football. Hopefully, by listening to my show, calling in the show, if you had a comment or a question, I was able to, teach you the game a little bit. We can always learn. It was like I was talking about, people are being real critical of John Smoltz and Joe Davis, they teach me, listen to what they're saying, not how they're saying it. Listen to what they're saying. They say some good stuff. Joe Davis is a very, very well-prepared play-by-play man, and John Smoltz is just flat out smart. Thanks for staying up, Coach. Mr. Nick, Alberto, hey, I'm more than happy to stay up. Anytime to talk about a big Padre victory. Now I just can't wait till 6:08 on Monday night. It's going to be fantastic. Really looking forward to it. Coach, what did Darvish do that Ohtani couldn't get a hit? Well, I think he mixed and matched. I thought his off-speed stuff is good. And you know what? Use a little bit different than most major league pitchers is because he doesn't really rely on his fastball. I mean, he'll locate his fastball and he'll move it up and down and in and out a little bit, but he has so much junk. Whether he's throwing the slider or the curveball, he can sink the ball a little bit. I mean, like John Smoltz was talking on the broadcast tonight, he just does a great job of keeping guys off balance. The other thing with Ohtani, and maybe you heard Joe Davis talk about that, growing up as a kid, and Ohtani's 30 years of age, and Darvish is 38. Okay, so, Darvish was a big name in Japan when Ohtani was growing up. And so he was like his idol growing up. And so, how would you feel? I know Ohtani's a veteran now, and, maybe the greatest single season in the history of baseball with the 50-plus homers and all the double. He had 99 extra base hits. He came up one extra base hit shy, of 100 this year. But the stolen bases, all that stuff, Darvish was his idol growing up. And maybe he feels a little, over anxious or uncomfortable. But I thought Darvish really changed speeds on Ohtani very, very well. And, he didn't throw the same pitch in the same spot all night against him. And Ohtani ended up going 0 for 4 and looked bad doing it. Did not look good. He hit one ball. He pulled it foul down the right field line. But other than that, he had a really rough time in Game 2. In fact, in Game 2, and Freeman left the game early, the Dodger top three guys, they were 0 for 10. So you go 0 for 10 on Tuesday night, Padres are going to be in good shape. They're going to be leading the series 2-1. Thank you very much. O2RR. Good evening, Coach. So wonderful to be able to go to sleep happy tonight. Let's win 2 in a row. Go San Diego Padres. O2RR, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. We appreciate that. And you know what? I mean, can you imagine what Petco Park's going to be like on Tuesday night, for crying out loud? People better start getting downtown by about 1 o'clock. You got to park. You got to get, revved up, whether you're at the Naughty Barrel or Bub's or wherever you're going to go. Get down there, get parked, and I'll tell you what, if you got a ticket to the game on Tuesday night, and if you don't have a ticket on Wednesday, I have a feeling if you go Tuesday night, you're not going to go to work on Wednesday. You're going to be wore out physically, mentally, and emotionally. We got a hell of a chance to beat the Dodgers in this series again this year. Everything's factoring our way. It really is. We got some dudes flat out hitting the baseball right now. I mean, look at our outfield. Now, Profar hadn't done a whole lot. And really, he's slowed down since the All-Star break, okay? They're going to continue to hit him third, but he'll get on base, he'll walk, but his numbers have not been good the last month or so. They really haven't. But, he's still a catalyst, and he's still one of the team leaders on this ball club. But look at our outfield. Look at Fernando. Look at Merrill. I mean, those guys are on fire right now. Manny didn't have a great game on Sunday night. I mean, Game 2, we got one little dunker out there to center field. He'll take it. But, he had a pretty good Game 1 with the big home run early in the ball game, had another big hit in the game, doing a great job. Higashioka's been outstanding. Third homer of the postseason in Game 2. So Padres are in really good shape, I think, pitching-wise. I want to go back. Let's go back, Sam, let's go back to Carlos Munoz. I didn't get to that. I want to get to his question there. There it is. Enjoy listening to you, Coach, at night, like all time. Hey, thank you, Carlos. Very much appreciate that. And hey, we'll be back in on Tuesday night. We'll be back in on Wednesday night. And hopefully I'm not back in on Friday night. Hopefully we're moving on to the next series. Andrew and PA, thank you very much. A great win, Coach. Hoping for a series win in San Diego. I don't want to see it go back to Los Angeles, Andrew. Anything can happen in those fifth game, final game of a series. I mean, for baseball-wise, TV ratings, it would be fantastic. But at the end of the day, you can get beat so many different ways. You could get beat on a balk or, a bloop single, a broken bat single in the, bottom of the eighth. You could get beat. You could get beat on like I mentioned, a balk, a bad hop single. I don't want to get to game 5. Padres need to take care of business at Petco Park. Now, the great thing is that Michael King can come out and deal and go deep. You can go deep, and you don't have to use your high leverage guys until late in the ball game. We haven't even seen Suarez yet. And I know for some of you, you're probably feeling pretty good about that because he didn't exactly finish the season on a high note. He was kind of all around. Tanner Scott's thrown the ball pretty well the last 2 nights. But if you can get King to go deep and you got a lead and you go with your high leverage guys, whether it's Estrada and then, Tanner Scott and then Suarez or Hoeing or Jason Adam, whatever. As long as those guys you don't have to use 3 or 4 of them in game 3. When you, depending on who they're going to pitch in game 4, you could not, I'm not going to say it's a bullpen game, but whoever starts may go 3 or 4 innings. And then, man, you got those guys lined up and you're sitting great. You don't want to go back to LA. If you win on Tuesday night, you've got to do everything humanly possible as a manager to not go back to LA by throwing it out there for game number 4. And then, of course, you get another day off. So your guys would be rested and ready to go anyways. But you win on Tuesday night. Man, you talk about being in the catbird seat pitching-wise, Padres are in tremendous shape. Tremendous shape. All right. We'll get to a few more here, but I want to mention what happened on Sunday also. The American League was off. They'll start everything up on Monday. Ricardo, hang in there. I'm going to get to you in just a second. NLDS Game 2. Series tied now. Why? Because Nick Castellanos, who had a homer early in the ball game, got a 2-out RBI single in the bottom of the 9th to plate a run, and Philadelphia walked it off against the New York Mets 7-6. Mark Vientos, that third baseman for the Mets, had a couple of 2-run homers in the ball game. Brandon Nimmo had a home run. Pete Alonso swinging the bat. Well, he had a dinger, and Castellanos, I mentioned, had a homer earlier. Bryce Harper had a 2-run homer in the ball game. Hell of a game, back and forth all day long. And then that series will resume on Tuesday, game 3. That's going to be at 2:08, 4 hours prior to the Padre game. It's going to be Philadelphia going with right-hander Aaron Nola, 14-8, and a 3.57 going against our old buddy. The Mets will send left-hander Sean Manaea to the hill. Sean Manaea pitched very well in the first wild card outing. 12-6 on the year with a 3.47. And Monday, the American League Division Series gets back at it at Progressive Field. Game 2, Cleveland leading the series 1-0. Detroit going to go with the guy that's going to win the Cy Young in the American League, left-hander Tarek Skubal, 18-4. Yeah, 18-4 with a 2.39 ERA. Go against veteran left-hander Matthew Boyd, 2-2 and a 2.72. Again, Guardians leading the series 1-0. They blasted the Tigers on Saturday 7-0. And then ALDS Yanks lead the series 1-0. Game 2 at Yankee Stadium on Monday. It'll be Kansas City sending left-hander Cole Reagans 11-9 and a 3.14 ERA going against the veteran left-hander Carlos Rodon for the Yanks. Rodon on the year 16-9 with a 3.96 ERA. And Yanks won a tight ball game on Saturday, 6-5. Okay, let's get to I think we had it wasn't was it Ricardo up there? Let's get to Ricardo. There he is. You're my guy because you know the context of this run for San Diego sports. 80 AFC title game. 84 Pods, San Diego State, Iowa Holiday Bowl. You know the struggle. Go Padres. Oh, you know what? I got to tell you. Wilbur Young jumped off sides in that game against the Raiders. Pods lost a tough one in '84. Okay, at the end of the day, they got there, and of course, Garvey's home run in Game 4, and then they beat the Cubs in Game 5. But a tough one in '84. '98, they ran up against the great New York Yankees. And in fact, the San Diego State Iowa Holiday Bowl, I was in Texas. I was coaching baseball at Texas Tech, and I watched that game on television from our apartment. And that sucked. Totally sucked. And yes, I do know the struggles, but I don't believe in the San Diego jinx like a lot of people. I really don't. So, anyways, so Ricardo, thank you very much. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Again, be responsible when you go to a ballpark. What happened in Dodger Stadium on Sunday night, there's no excuse. There's not one excuse for that. That was BS. Let the players police themselves out on the field. If one ball player doesn't like another ball player on the other team, let him chirp. Don't be the third party. Like in hockey, if you're the third guy in, you get ejected immediately. I hope there were some people that left early tonight. I really do. And I hope if they were season ticket holders, I hope they have their season tickets revoked. That's the way I look at it. You don't throw baseballs at anybody, let alone a ball player that's down, playing catch with somebody in between innings. You don't throw trash. I was at Dodger Stadium many years ago when Roberto Clemente played. I was a kid. And I think my uncle took me. I was so young, I barely remember it. But I remember somebody jumping out of the stands with a Pittsburgh Pirate pennant that he bought at Danny Goodman's sports shop there at Dodger Stadium. And they sold all the caps, and they didn't really sell jerseys back in the day, but they'd sell balls and, T-shirts and all that. And this guy had a Pittsburgh Pirate pennant, and he jumped out of the bleachers in left field, ran by the left field pavilion out to right field, and people were throwing trash at him. He went out in front of the great Roberto Clemente, planted that right in front of Clemente, got down and bowed, and that was before security took him away. I hope the people that caused the ruckus tonight, I hope they pay a price. Whether they spend the night in jail or they pay a stiff fine, you can't have that. You got to protect the ball players. You got to protect the people in the stands. And when you go to a ballpark, don't be a jackass. Okay, there's other people around you that are paid good money like you have to enjoy a ball game without some mouthy person that wants attention. Okay, and you also have a lot of children at ball games. So what went on tonight, totally out of line. I don't care what ballpark it was. Tonight it was Dodger Stadium, and we know the Dodgers, they have a history of problems up there. But I think security handled it as quickly as they possibly could. The umpires, I thought, handled it well. But that can't happen, folks. We don't need any of that at Petco Park, and we don't need anybody running on the field like they did on Saturday night at Dodger Stadium. We don't need that. Let's play good, clean, solid baseball, and let's get it rolling on Tuesday night. So when I come back in on Tuesday night, we're talking about another Padre victory. Again, the final score tonight from Dodger Stadium, 10-2. Padres slug 6 homers. They get 7 innings of 3 hit, 1-run ball by Darvish. And they, again, hit 6 homers. Fernando had 2. Jackson Merrill had a homer. You had Kyle Higashioka with a homer. You had Xander Bogaerts with a homer. And just a great night all the way around for our San Diego Padres. And, again, they'll bus home. They're going to have a workout on Monday. And they'll be very much ready to go. And, of course, I don't want to slight my guy David Peralta. He also had a big 2-run homer in this ball game, getting a start as a designated hitter in place of Donovan Solano. Arise played first base tonight, and Solano did come in later and pinch hit for Peralta and went 0 for 2. But a big home run by David Peralta early in the ball game after Fernando had homered in the first inning, got the Padres rolling, and they take down Jack Flaherty and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Again, thank you very much for tuning in. Please subscribe to our channel. And again, you can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. Again, the final score tonight from Dodger Stadium. Padres even the series at 1 game apiece as they drill the LA Dodgers 10-2. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.